Uh, Good evening, children. My name is C.J. Nagaraj, retired headmaster of DMS, Regional Institute of Education, Mysuru. I am quite happy to share my thoughts today to you on Chapter 9 of your 12th Standard Biology, which, which, which talks about strategies for enhancement in food production. That is the chapter, and we are going to have an introductory talk on this particular topic. Well, we will try to know scope of this particular chapter we are going to study in your class 12. For this, would like to give you a brief introduction about how we have to approach. If you look at it, the entire thing in three different points I would like to discuss with you. One is the population growth, size of population in our country. Our country is reaching almost 138 crores of human beings living on this little part of the planet. India is almost one-third the size of America, but in terms of population, we are more than 4 times the American population. America has 38.8 crores. India has 138 crores. So that is the difference. So to feed all these people, we have to have an extremely good way in which we produce our food materials. That includes grains, fruits, vegetables, and other products like poultry, meat, all these things. That means in our country we have vegetarians, non-vegetarians. We require different kinds of food depending upon different cultures. So all this will have to be looked into. The word food encompasses the entire area, the entire gamut of the eatables and the things we take it as food in our country. Right from rice, wheat, grains to meat, poultry, eggs, and so many things we take. All this will have to be considered looking at the size of the population. Secondly, we have advanced in our technologies. Our country is applying a large amount of sciences and technological applications and principles to produce farm yield. Farm refers to both the plant and also animal products. We shall look into that in the next PPTs about the how India has advanced and how we are producing our food material. The third point is the word says it says about the enhancement of food production. That is the topic. I would like to interpret the word enhancement. Enhancement means increasing, to increase the productivity in terms of quality and also in terms of volume, the amount of food produced per capita, per person. It has to be quality wise and volume wise enough to feed 138 crores at this moment. Maybe in 5 years to come, we may increase by another 30 to 38 to 40 lakhs of people. So therefore, food production will have to be considered looking into various aspects of our climatic conditions, our population size, and our advancement in technology and science, and our storage capacity. All these things will have to be considered when we think of production of the food material. Having given you a small introduction about this chapter, we shall see what are the contents of this chapter. Chapter breakup indicates animal husbandry, that is 9.1, 9.2 plant breeding, 9.3 single cell proteins, and 9.4 tissue culture. So there are 4 different areas that normally will be considered for production of food material. Think of animal husbandry. Now that talks about the cattle farming and breeding of animals, especially for the sake of milk and the animal products that people consume, meat and egg and other areas. Now the next one, plant breeding, is the one that most of the Indians, perhaps almost every Indian, would like to have some amount of food in the form of plant product. Every Indian, right from child to the elderly people, will have to have plant product, either fruit or grains or something connected with the plant will have to be consumed as a food. Now, single cell proteins are those that is due to the technological advances. Now, some seaweeds are cultivated. From there, we extract proteins, and proteins will be used as supplement for the weaker and sick people who require that kind of thing. So that is also an advancement that also we have to produce in larger quantities. And we have tissue culture. This is again a part of the plant and the animal, perhaps, maybe both. Tissue refers to both animal and plant. We should not only think of plants only. So there will be kind of a experimental activity going on in the lab. From the laboratory, research will have to come to the land. So tissue culture will help in producing new breeds, new varieties, new species, which can not only produce desired quality of the food material, but also in larger volumes. Maybe that will be produced in the laboratories, but not on the field. So all these four areas you have to study, and maybe you will be introduced to these areas so that you get a clear idea what our country requires in future. Because you should not only think of passing the 12th examination. It has no meaning. You have to think beyond that and find out which area you are interested in, and maybe you can pursue your research, your career, and then try to help the country to build up rich and nutritious food for our growing population. Well, after having given you some idea about the chapter, I have planned to give you 4 talks on the chapter Animal Husbandry, and 4 talks on plant breeding, 4 talks on single cell proteins, and maybe 4 talks on tissue culture. This is only a tentative planning. That means almost about 10 to 15 hours of information I'll be feeding on this particular chapter for your purpose. You have to read your textbook also along my talk, and thereby you will understand this particular area much better, not just, as I repeat, not just to pass the examination, but to incorporate that in your thinking, and then think how you can help our country in producing quality and volume of food materials to feed the ever increasing population size of our great nation India. We will look into these chapters in the future classes. We end up here today and we close this session of introductory talk. My next talk will be on farm and dairy management. Since I have given you some idea about the 4 topics that you are going to study in class 12, please think of any area, either animal husbandry, plant breeding, tissue culture, or single cell research, whatever the area you would like to think upon, interested in, think of research in that area. Right now, you can Google, you can go to any research paper available, plenty, try to collect some information. So fix up your mind and then try to think of these areas for your career and for future study. Thank you. Good luck.